Well, here I have this Enermax 550W SFX power supply with a loud fan. It's on my custom system that I built under my tabletop. Since the power supply is in the open, the fan noise that it was producing was bothering me. The fan is quite loud even when the system is idle. Every few seconds there is a cycling winding noise, which is the sound of the fan spinning up and then slowing back down again to 0 RPM. Then this cycle just repeats. So, I decided to replace the fan. I'll be installing a Thermalright 80mm slim fan that was purchased off Amazon for roughly $8. It's a fairly quiet fan that should be able to do what I want it to do. For the process, you should have left the power supply disconnected for some time. I started by unscrewing the top frame of the PSU. Then, I should be able to separate the compartments. I'll then cut off the fan wires with a wire cutter. I do have a fan speed reducer adapter that I have laying around. Using this should make it easier to replace a fan later on if needed. With this adapter, I'll be cutting it to expose the negative, positive, and yellow wire. Let me explain some stuff. The third yellow wire on the adapter is a tachometer, or RPM speed signal used to monitor the RPM of the fan. This PSU is not using a separate RPM feedback wire for its fan. The fan that I will be using as a replacement is a 4-pin fan with the 4th pin being a PWM signal. This digital signal is used by the motherboard or a fan controller to control the speed of the fan. Power supplies normally control their fans through a DC voltage control curve, varying the voltage based on the internal temperature or load. So, in our case, the tachometer and the PWM wires from our fan will be unnecessary. And thus, we will only be using the negative wire and the positive 12-volt wire. We would then have to use some wire strippers to peel both wires. The fan header from the adapter will fit right into the 4-pin fan header. I then proceeded to expose the wires. And peeled off the wires from the PSU compartment. I added some flux and solder to the peeled wires. I did the same with the fan adapter. I proceeded to pre-insert some heat shrink on each wire and then soldered each wire together. I then heated up the heat shrink to put it in place. We would then want to unscrew the fan out of the other compartment. and install the new fan by screwing it in the same way we unscrewed the old one. Putting both compartments back together was a bit tricky. I tried tucking in the fan wire with a wire cable tie, but it seemed to be too bulky. So I took off the wire cable tie and tucked it in with the wires being more loose. I then made sure the side panels of the top compartment inserted into the dedicated side crevices of the main compartment. I then screwed the compartments together, and that's it. I was basically done. Before I installed the power supply back into my system, I wanted to test it to make sure it checked out. And it sure did. So, here's the before and after. Swapping out the fan was definitely worth it, with the fan noises significantly reduced. The white fan that I used actually complemented the white trim of this power supply. Nice. So, that's the end of this video, because I've got a lot of other things to work on. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.